Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Rocket Monday, we're going to talk about Direct-to-Cellular Service 2025 update. So let's dive deep into it. So what exactly is the problem that we need to do cell to satellite? Well, there is no mobile network. Does not matter which country you're looking at. Even in Japan, okay, or Korea, or South Korea, whatever have you. No matter what you are talking about, no matter which country you are in, you will never have a scenario where one service provider can have a national coverage, let alone global, and let alone oceans. So fundamentally, we are limited by rollout, so to say. It is much better than it used to be. My experience, I generally used to not use UPI. It's a payment system because mobile network is horrible. Once I switched to different system, it's like, I could actually use it. So fundamentally, we do not have good coverage, and mobile network are essential nowadays because if you're coming from some old days like 1980s or some 1970s, you will like, oh, mobile phone, we lived without it. Yeah, that is true. It's no longer viable anymore. At this point in time, mobile networks are essential, not only for communication but also for payment. So many places in India utilize UPI, basically a cashless way of payment. It works, it's good, it's awesome. Just you will not find it in rural area. Not because people don't have the machines or the tool or awareness, it's just that do not have reliable enough network. So for that reason, you have to understand financial reason. And again, in African nations, the nation that started to have good network rollout started to have uplifting, meaning people started to come out of poverty. So it is no longer just like, it's a luxury. No, it's a good to have. It's a must have. And the moment you add disaster, does not matter man-made disaster or a natural disaster, it becomes lifeline. At that point in time, it becomes priceless. And unfortunately, that's the first thing that goes the moment you have any natural disaster. So that creates a scenario for humanitarian reason, for our optimistic goals or our basically hopes and dreams. We do want what we call planet-wide coverage, meaning if you're rich enough, if you can afford this global SIM, quote unquote, you should be able to pull out your phone. Does not matter where you are. If you are in normal places, boom, mobile network, go home. If you are in the middle of nowhere, boom, satellite network, go home. Middle of ocean, boom, go home. Which is ironic given the fact majority of our data traffic happens under the sea. Somehow on the sea you have zero network. So it's one of those things where it's like it's a big problem. So hype about this technology started to happen in public consciousness 2020. Now, if you're old enough, you know like all the movies and spy thrillers, there used to be satellite phones. Now, there were real things, they did work, but they were not viable economically. Half of the company went bust and other half just keeps like, okay, from few years here, then it went there, then here. It's not viable economically speaking. So in public consciousness 2020, things changed. Meaning, if you watch Suits, there was like a whole episode about this, like, oh, this phone that can directly do satellite call. It's like, yeah, every smartphone can do that now. So things happened where we, like, instead of having giant brick phone with a giant antenna directly talking to something specific, that issue was resolved. The idea started to become real where it's like, hey, your smartphone, it's a satellite phone. So that started in 2020. What happened in 2020? Well, this puppy, AST, Mobile Space Company, comes out of hiding. You have to understand, many times when you see a company, they may have an actual launch and they have a public launch, meaning they could have been working behind the scenes for years, and when they are ready, boom, public launch. So they did that, boom, public launch. So this started to show people the ideas like, oh, people are actually working on it to convert normal smartphone into a satellite phone. Okay. That happened on 2020. Now we come to September 2021. iPhone is released. Now iPhone goes, hey, pardon me. In September 2021, Linksys does global, basically satellite SMS. Now you're like, is it really valuable? If you have no network, SMS is like, shut up, take money. So trust me, in a remote location, middle of nowhere, that's priceless. So again, that proves the idea that we can have a normal smartphone acting as a satellite communicator. That is mind-boggling. Okay, so we have a company launch and then we start to have a scenario where somebody actually delivers something. Then we have iPhone 14 launch, which again starts to bring the idea to public consciousness where, oh, your smartphone should have the ability to directly contact a satellite for SOS services. Now, this was announced in September 2022. So at this point in time, people are like, I should be able to buy it. And then you go to August 2022, this happens. Basically, SpaceX and T-Mobile makes love to each other, and they're like, okay, we're gonna bring direct to cell. So that's also another things. And be mindful, these are some big milestone that I'm talking about. There are other smaller ones also, including Indian, including Chinese. There are a lot of options. So there's serious hype from 2020. So let's dive deep into it. So what were the technology? Now let this be very clear. We have known how to make satellite phone very long ago. Basically, by the time we knew how to make GPS, we knew how to make satellite phones. The issue was the rockets were too goddamn expensive. And there, it had a cascading penalty, meaning the satellite that you had to make, let's say Iridium, it had to be very good day one. They cannot just like, okay, let's just make something minimum viable product, launch it, figure it out, and then make a iterative upgradation. They could not do it. They could not afford to do it. They have to make sure the Mark 1 satellite is actually good, which again, if you know engineering, that's not how engineering works. Mark 1 is always garbage. So that created a cascading loop where cost was exponentially higher. Now compare that to Starlink. Starlink is like, yeah, Mark 1, they barely work, no problem. Then Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4, they keep updating it. So all this became possible because of SpaceX Falcon 9. Before this, if you have talked to anyone, we're going to launch 100 rockets, low Earth orbit, actual orbital, not sounding rocket or something like that. Actual orbital launches with some good payload. They were laughed at you. They're like, bro, not even Soviet Union or USA combined could do that. And that is so true even now. Like you can combine China, you can combine Russia, you can combine India, you can combine Japan, you can combine South Korea. Not that many rocket launches. Until you count SpaceX. SpaceX alone is like, bruh, please. Bruh, please. It's has reached that level. It's like, bro, please. So SpaceX makes it cheap, where it's like, satellite constellation like GPS or GLONASS or Galileo or Bindu, these sort of things becoming idiotically expensive to like, I can actually do it. So that creates a scenario where people are like, hey, we no longer have to work our ass off to make geostationary work. Because again, geostationary, while it does work, that's how your direct to home satellite TV works. That's a good thing, known, time tested, does work. It's just that if you had to communicate it to it, you will be fried. If your phone has that kind of radiational energy, as in like electromagnetic energy, you will be cooked. It will take so much power. Your head cannot be that close to it. So for that reason, they had to come down lower. Low Earth orbit, as in like medium Earth orbit to maybe even low Earth orbit. And the closer low Earth orbit you get, the more likely you are to use a normal smartphone. So LEO does work now. Okay, we have known this mathematics since orbital mechanics. So why did not we use? Well, we did. But problem was, it requires too many satellite for coverage. Like a lot, like at least 100. And if you really want quality coverage, 200 to 300 is not good enough. At that point in time, you have to come really low in LEO orbit. At that point, the footprint, the radio footprint is not big enough. At that point, you need thousands of satellite, which Starlink is directly aiming for. At that point in time, if you had said Starlink sort of system could be even viable, nobody would have believed you. Nobody would have believed you. But again, after SpaceX, after Falcon 9, after 2020, if you said, hey, I want to launch 1,000 satellites, they're like, yeah, SpaceX did that in a year. So that's a common thing. So things change. So the mathematics now works where it's like, we can have a rocket. We no longer have to make the perfect Mark 1 piece. We can just make one, get things rolling, and then solve the pieces and then launch again Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4, and then have enough coverage in the shell of a LEO satellite there where everything is covered. So things happen. And again, before Starlink, nobody would have believed you. After Starlink, everybody is like, it can be done. Now, in this time, T-Mobile comes to Starlink and is like, hey, you have a system that is made dedicatedly for that receiver, giant receiver. Okay, cool, awesome. But what will happen if you use your laser interconnect, radio interconnect, and our payload? So the payload will allow it to directly communicate using the bandwidth and spectrum that T-Mobile has the license to, and directly do the basically satellite to mobile communication. Now, bad part, because it's an add-on, it was not designed from day one, it's a very low bandwidth connection, meaning SMS, SOS, maybe voice call at best. Data, good luck with that. So T-Mobile does come up with the idea, does do a partnership with SpaceX, and they do launch, I think, if I'm not mistaken, around 400 satellites are of that package is already in orbit, which again, that's why they started to roll out the service. But again, it still needs a lot more, and again, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4 would be needed before it's good. But again, do not expect like GG performance like a broadband or even 3G level network. Expect voice call at best. So that is T-Mobile's approach to it. Now we have AST. Now AST looks at SpaceX and it's like, hey, They got the rocket part, but they did not got the satellite part. It's like, okay, what do we do? Make a giant satellite. Like how giant this puppy is? 30 meters by 30 meters. They basically copy pasted the whole mobile tower in space. Nothing else. They did not even like, okay, you have a satellite. No. This is a mobile tower in space. Now, this is designed in such a way where it can actually do things like actual broadband from a satellite to your normal smartphone. That's the whole point. That's why it's so, this is far more what you call encouraging, because again, I will rather have SMS coverage, rather have SOS coverage than have no coverage. But this is like, bro, don't worry about it. The idea with this companies and this approach is like, don't worry about it. Meaning you should not think, oh, I have terrestrial network or satellite network. It's like, don't think about it. That's the whole aim of it. It's like, Apple just works. So this is the tech part of it. Ironically, tech part is sorted, done. Even this one has been launched, has been used, has been tested. So done. Technology part is sorted. It's the rocket that made it viable to dream economically. We could have done that. It's just that it was not economically viable. So what about the progress? So we got the idea, we got the technology. What about the progress? Now, it's not happening as quickly as it was advertised. It's almost like Elon timeline. So if companies like, we're going to have a service in 2023, yeah, that means best case scenario, 2026. So let that be very clear. From 2020, if you count how many milestones have been achieved, we achieved satellite SMS on normal smartphone, done. Then we achieved SOS, it's a normal thing, done. Then we achieved voice, yes, that has been achieved, where you can have a voice call from your smartphone to a satellite, done, sorted, go home. Then a video call also have been achieved. That's why I was talking about that giant 30 meter by 30 satellite. That's designed for that. Video call, done. It's done, sorted. So steady progress has been made day by day, meaning if you compare from 2020 to now, lot of progress has been made. So now what about smartphone? What kind of special smartphone do you know? You must have seen like, Snapdragon announcing that they have made a special modem that allows that satellites. Yes, those things will help, but yes, you do not need them. That's the whole point of having a mobile tower in space, is that normal phone. Basically, what is normal here? Any phone that is made after 2020. And some phones even going before that should just work. And again, they will require minor firmware upgrade, because again, especially if you have a beam forming antenna in your smartphone, 5G smartphones, they generally try to make beam forming based on gyro data and gravitational accelerometer data. It assumes that tower has to be like this. It will not directly try to aim upwards based on its own geometry. But again, you have to allow it. It's like, bro, satellite is on top, so send signal there. So that's there. So on paper, that is very clear. We are reaching a point where we should have planet-wide coverage. And again, they are launching multiple of these. So these are big puppies with big throughputs and directly targeting smartphones with broadband. Meaning, to give you context, if you are 5 Mbps, you can do video calling. If you are at 30 Mbps, you can do 4K Netflix streaming without any issue. The moment you cross 30 Mbps, it's no longer an issue. Meaning, of course, if you are like, okay, I'm going to run a company, I'm going to do like full research and development, yeah, that's a different thing. But again, if you are like a remote worker and all that, 30 Mbps is good enough, unless you are a heavy downloader. At that point in time, no. But for the most enough scenario, as long as latency is good enough, you're good. 30 Mbps, you're good. 10 Mbps, you can maintain things. And again, they are able to do that, at least showcase, prove the idea that this can be done, where you can have 10-20 Mbps reliably. So that's progress has been significant. And again, we are just 5 years into it. It's like, damn. Now, what are the bottlenecks? Why it's not happening faster than that? Well, we are limited by one rocket. Practically speaking, there is nothing other than Falcon 9, realistically speaking. You're like, okay, China is like, yeah, no. And like, what about Russia? No. Nothing. It's like Falcon 9 or nothing. The only hope that I could even see on the horizon for next few years is two hope. One of those is Blue Origin, basically New Glenn. Why? Jeff Bezos has a deep pocket. Another is Rocket Labs Neutron rocket. Again, it has good design, and the company has been slow and steady and slowly have been chipping away, and they have made some good progress given the fact that they have successfully managed 14 launches per year. That is significant. That's more than one launch a year. So, and again, even ULA cannot match that. So that's a very big bottleneck. Why? Well, not every company or country wants to use Falcon 9. For example, Kepler, they did not want to use Falcon 9. At some point, they were in discussion with ISRO also. It's like, might as well use that. But they're like, okay, we have to use ULA's rocket. And they're like, yeah, hope they should have been ready by now. But again, that will be the first customer. So there are a lot of people. And again, China would not want to use Falcon 9 to launch that system. So, and again, yes, China is working on it. So there is a serious scenario where Falcon 9 is there and no genuine competitor exists. Although I could see hope on the horizon, so in next 3 to 5 years, we should have genuine competition where it's like, you know what, while it is good, Falcon 9 is genuinely good, we have something other than that. Like, it's not like one or nothing. So that's there. And then we come to the really painful part, which is the bureaucracy of spectrums. Spectrum allocation is a hell of a hassle, meaning I could not even tell you how many times things were like, okay, we have the technology, we are ready, we are good to go. It's like, okay, why we are not launching it? Yeah, there's this license thing. I'm not even joking, that is a big issue with 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi routers. That's an issue that has been stuck because of allocations and spectrum. It's not quick, it's not efficient, and it does take a lot of money to get it working. So it's a hell of a limiting factor. And again, as a private company, if you're like, you look into this and you're like, you know what, I got the technology, I understand the demand for it. If I have to pay through pay the government all the licensing fee and all that, it will not be cost effective at that point. So I can understand a lot of people are not jumping into it unless government itself wants it. So, and again, thankfully there are some motion, be it in India, be it UK, be it some other countries also, there are some motions where it's like we really should look into it. And can we do international roaming? Technically, yes. Technically, at this very moment, Starlink can do it. 400 satellites is Direct-to-Cellular is not there yet, but it should be doable by 2026. But again, it does have international regulation. So I could see over water without too much issue, but yeah. So international laws and regulations are such a messy beast that it's like, eesh. But I could see in future where you are like, super duper hyper rich. Basically, you do not know how much your smartphone cost. You just have a CA guy who takes care of it. It's like, bro, I have the guy contacts who have a company. I'm not even joking. This actually does exist where these companies, they have dealership with everyone. Basically, you come to India, you have all the service provider, they're like, yeah, we have partnerships. So that number will work with whoever network is available. But again, they cost a lot. They never advertise because these are like, if you have to ask the price, you can't afford it kind of deal. So it's like they go to Dubai, it works. They go to America, it works. They go to Europe, it works. They go to China, it works. So I could easily see them where it's like, no, I got the premium coverage, global coverage. They are in plane, it works. They are in cruise ship, it works. They are in yachts, it works. They are in middle of Sahara Desert, it works. So it is possible. But again, laws and regulations are the messy part of it. Again, that affects the cost competitiveness as of now. So this was my presentation on basically what is happening on basically direct-to-cell technology. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon for free, and as always, thanks for watching.